Hey guys, King was here from the One Corners Armory, and today we're going to be talking about the Hanwei Practical Rapier, or the Hanwei Practical Side Sword, or the Hanwei Practical Sword, or the Hanwei Practical everything. Literally everything Hanwei is practical, to be honest. There's like the whole Tinker Pierce line series, there's the Practical Rapier series, and then there's the Practical whole bunch of other things series. And so it is pretty much the first hema weapon that, well, most OG hema will have. It's because these are the first first generation kind of weapon that we have available on the market. And so most of these are readily available. They are really cheap to begin with. You can still buy these, and most stores have them. And these are modular system weapons. It means that if you break a blade, unscrew the pommel, slide another one in. Perfect. If you want to have a side sword, or using it like a basket hilt, and then slide in the rapier blade, perfect. Buy another one, slide another one in. So then, for one hilt that does it all, and you can use multiple different systems, the Practical series on the Hanwei is really good. So, and if you by the time of this video uploading, this weapon it's going to be up for sale, and I'm just downsizing my armory for several reasons. One of the reasons is to collect money to buy a Shiona, which is a real antique, and I'll make a video about that later. But in any case, I just have a whole lot of stuff now. That's all. And I think in my basement there's like 200 some odd weapons in there, and you kind of run out of space after a while, you know? So I just can't store that many things. So I'm consolidating a little bit. So there's nothing wrong with this weapon, okay? So first and foremost, let's check out how much it weighs. Okay. The total weight of this is 1,133 grams. Yes, I was putting it down when I was holding it, but it's roughly correct. And the blade itself, I believe I got a 30-inch blade, and it comes with a roll tip, okay? So this blade itself comes, excuse you. Okay, from the top of the blade to where my hand is at is 37 inches, and or if you count it from the top of the ricasso, which is the top of the hilt, to the tip of the blade, we have a 35-inch blade. 35-inch blade to the crossguard is 37. So this is pretty much a really good, well, single-handed blade length. It is not a rapier blade length yet. However, oh yeah. What is this? However, if you so happen to need any other rapier blade, you can slide any other blade into it and it will fit just fine. So you could change this out as its weapon system intended. It is a really good true edge, back edge kind of weapon. There is no distal taper from what I can see. Actually no, there is distal taper in this blade, by a little bit. In any case, it still swings just fine. It depends what system you do. If you are doing bolognese, of course, it is absolutely fantastic. It works just fine. And if you're doing English system where it is more tighter, it works just fine as well. Parry, thrust, no problem at all. Now, I have to say this blade is a little bit more on the heftier side because that's how they make it more durable. And so what happens that after you use it for a while, after maybe a 2-hour training session, even maybe 1 hour, as a beginner, of course, your forearms can get really tired. Of course, it trains you to have bigger forearm eventually, but it also means that it's just, you have to grow with your sword, that's what it is. So we still have the original Hanwei marker on the sword itself, and of course this sword has been used many times in the club, and obviously there are many little dents, but by and large it's still in really good condition. Like, it functions as intended, that's all. Again, this has been through a lot. And even then, the blade is solid. We're gonna have a point of balance around a little bit past the ricasso, so we're around 5 inches away from the middle of the handguard. Look at that tip. Hold on, I'm just gonna show a little bit on the edge. Still really nice. Still really nice edge. Now we're going to moving on to the handle itself. It's a very classic kind of complex hilt rapier kind of hilt. We find a lot of these in the 17th century, a little bit in the later 16th century, 17th century is pretty popularized. So they are actually really nice guard. When I first got this, I swear I thought this part, and this part is the first one to be bent right now, but after using it so long, it's still rock solid. It's still decently straight, nothing wrong with it. And for some reason, this bar right here on the inside, this bar, which is the inside bar, I don't know why, this is the first one to cave in first. Weird. How did you take a hit that hard on here? Were you like pairing this way? I don't know what happened to this. In any case, this bar is the first one to cave in. Usually it's the outside bar to cave in first. But no, outside bar is great, fantastic condition. And if you have one of the world's thickest glove on the market that I don't know why I have, is that it still fits in just fine. It's crazy. So there's a very generous amount of hand protection, or a very generous amount of handle on the inside. Even at this point, the inside shell is still nice and big, so your thumb and the front indexing finger will be perfectly protected. You can index your sword, or you can also just hold it normally, like a hammer grip. And it still fits just fine because the handle have that much space. Would I use this with no indexing the sword? Well, probably not. I love indexing. I love fingering every sword, to be honest. That's just me. So holding like that is great. Holding like an English style, it's just fine as well. It's up to you. Okay. And one of the most attractive feature about this sword is the whole thing looks silver. The whole thing is steel, and it's cool. Like everybody wants one, because it's all steel. And for this price range, you get a wire wrap handle, which is very, very rare. So you look at that. The wire wrapping is still nice and solid. After so many years, it's still solid. Like nothing is rattling. It's so good. Funny enough, I still have the. I don't think that's the original leather washer. I think it's swapped out. In that case, so let's take this thing apart. First off, as to all or OG HEMA weapon, it is going to sport a M6 coarse threaded nut. Once again, it is just how thick the rod is, and of course, coarse thread is just, well, it's just how wide the teeth are. So it's a really, really nice, simple little nut. Very, very cute. And I like how there's actually detailing on the pommel itself. Because when the pommel is too smooth, when you're trying to turn it, especially when you're wearing gloves, it just slides right over it. But because there are these deep groove right here, when you turn it, it's just so easy to turn. So you can put that away for now. We have a little washer. You can swap these out very, very easily. It's just a piece of leather, guys. And we have a nice pommel. The pommel itself on the inside. Sorry, sniffing it. I don't think it's wood. I think it's actually plastic. So it's black, of course, and actually, no, it's just painted black wood. Never mind, it's wood. Wood core on the inside, metal washer on the front, and of course on the back with the steel wrapping, steel wire wrapping. And if you look at the inside, can't really get that. But you see that the wire actually goes through the handle, and if you look at it down the middle, down the inside, you can actually see it. And we can still see the original handguard. Really good condition. I love this handguard. It's a really interesting complex hilt design that I just find myself staring at all the time. And we have a generous amount of sword block, so any other blade should fit just fine. And with a bit of filing. So right here, you see this one? It has two sizing actually. We have, if you look at it, there's actually almost look like two overlapping rectangles because you can swap the blades out, okay? So if you have any other blade, it just goes right in. And of course, the blade itself with a really decent, generous amount of tang thickness. Bit of shouldering effect happening, so it's quite safe. And the whole thing is not welded. This is the homogeneous metal on its own. I think the welding happens here in the... No, actually. The thread itself, the thread is actually part of the metal. Now, why I'm saying this, because if you guys have ever seen a tool and die machine, it's how they make these little teeth and thread. Is that there's a little it's a rod, it's a handlebar with a little thread maker on the middle, and you put that on the middle and you kind of keep turning it. So it's here, you have a rod and you keep turn, and it cuts into the metal. But the first part of the die maker, I'm gonna put a photo on the side, is that they have a receiving part where it shave off metal first before it make those little groove. I'm not making sense here, that's okay. But what I'm trying to say is that I think the rod itself is actually a part of that handle, is because, focus my man. Okay, good enough. I need better lighting system, guys. Okay, if we look at that, a little bit of close up here, the tang of course has sharp corners on the four side, but then what happens is that it actually has a little bit more of a shaved down effect on these corners, because when they're making dye for this tang, it eats a little bit away shave a little bit at these corner. So that's an indication that this thread, it's the same metal when they make it as this tang, which is the same with this blade. What does it mean? It means that there's no weld happening, so it's a very, very strong tang system. So it's actually benefiting. And if you want to put everything back together, very nice and easy, slide this guy in, drop the handle. That part is definitely mandatory. Put the washer back in, which you can change later on, and of course the pommel slides right in. Once again, if you have any other pommel and you want to swap a pommel for a heavier pommel for better balance, you absolutely can. And so the sword comes together very similarly like this. So if you want to take it together, take it apart for traveling, and then put everything back together on site, it's very, very easy. So, as a starting HEMA weapon, this Hanwei Practical Rapier, or Practical Side Sword at this point because it's only 36-inch blade, I find it to be a really good beginner weapon. Many of our members still use the Hanwei blade as their beginner weapon, and then later on they can swallow to different blade. And actually, Dana Sweetman, which is our head instructor of the club, he preferred his Hanwei blade over all the other blade. He's still using it to this point on his basket hill. So he just trusts his that much. And I do find that they are really robust. Now here's the thing, in the Hanwei series, if you Google Hanwei blade, you're gonna find a lot of blade failure. And this is a hit and miss. Luckily mine and his, meaning this blade itself, they are really good still. We haven't broke ours yet and they're really good. But we find that many people, I just used it for the first time and it broke. I just travel around with it and it broke. Or I was like, oh, my longsword broke after 10 bouts. Hanwei District spoke about this a while back and said, yes, those bash didn't have a good treatment or whatever, right? And they did something to it. But in any case, this one is still really good. So that's just one of the cons. When you are buying a Hanwei weapon, just expect that check out the warranty if it breaks, and do you get a replacement? Hopefully you do. Okay, and luckily this one is pretty old blade, still in really clean conditions. And the other con is that I do find that as a beginner weapon, this is a little bit more tip heavy, and the handle, I wish the handle, although it's absolutely freaking beautiful, I wish it has more grip and traction to it. I do find that it's still a little bit slippery even with a gloved hand. So if you were to buy this, I would say get another handle that fits your hand better. Everyone's hand is different, and a handle is not just a thing that wraps around a tank. It's a thing that allows the sword to behave with your hand with maximum connectivities. So it should be as comfortable, as connected to your hand as you can. So your handle should make your sword feel like a second joint to your hand, second limb per se. So I do wish the handle is not as slippery, although I really like how it looks, just so beautiful. Or I wish the pommel was just a tad heavier with the blade just a tad lighter. So, in case. So once again, this is the Hanwei Practical Side Sword, Hanwei Practical Sword as per se. It is up for sale. If you're interested, let me know. Or if you have any question, put it on to the chat box below, which is probably a YouTube video, so there should be a comment section on the bottom. Or if not, you can also find me as Kingless Yanapi on Facebook, which you can find, or you can find me on the Wampons Armory on Instagram as well. So, thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you have a successful HEMA journey. See ya!